This is Chasing the Moon RV. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope by the end of this video you'll be interested enough to subscribe. And for all of you who have been following me for a while, if you're not subscribed, please do. It would make a huge difference to my channel if you did. Share, like, thumbs up, all the things everyone else on YouTube says. I was actually not planning on doing a video this morning. I was on my way to do some grocery shopping, but I stopped and picked up a coffee and a ham and cheese croissant and thought I would come and take a little break down in one of my favorite spots down by the Fraser River. I'll just show you a little snippet of what I'm looking at right now. As you could see, it's not the nicest day here today. The wind is very cold still, especially for mid-April. It's April 17th today. I always love sitting down here. There's always a lot of different watercraft to view, from fishing boats to tugboats to huge car carriers coming from, I guess, from Japan, coming up the river. It's a working river. Yeah, I just love being down here. It's kind of one of my happy places, but much prettier on a sunny day. I thought what I would talk to you about today is, as you saw in the title of the video, why van life? When I really thought about that question, I realized that I've always been, or always had a love for quirky spaces and smaller spaces quite often. I've moved an awful lot in my life, so I guess maybe that nomad spirit, that free spirit, has always been part of me. I think my daughter counted that I had moved into over 40 different homes, 45 different homes in my lifetime. Sometimes by choice, sometimes by circumstance. But yeah, I've moved around a lot. And in fact, we were saying just the other day that I've been in the home that I'm in now for 5 years, which is a long time for me. At one point in time, I was like this close to buying the cutest little floating home on a river a little further to the east of Vancouver. If I can find any clips of it, I'll insert them here. It was just so cute, but the deal fell through at the last minute. I also looked into having a tiny house built a few years ago, but at that particular point in time, it was really hard to find anyone who would accept them. Even the mobile home parks in the Lower Mainland around here, they didn't know what they were, and you couldn't, I don't think at the time you could get them with the certification that would allow them to be in a park like a mobile home. So that didn't happen either. And then through circumstances, I found that the savings that I had that could have purchased me either a floating home or have a tiny house built, I was having to supplement my monthly expenses with my savings because rents were so high here. The cost of housing in Canada, in Vancouver, are just unbelievable. So I realized a few years ago that I was going to run out of money and I was going to need to make some changes. So I actually had looked into buying a Class C about 7 years ago, but I started researching van life maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and I did an awful lot of research on it before I decided I was going to buy a Class C. And I had looked at a few, and then my daughter told me they'd been given a notice to vacate in the place that they were renting, and she wondered if they found a place that had room for me and sort of a separate suite, would I be interested? And I said yes, and so that's where I've been for the last 5 years. After doing my cross-Canada road trip last year and living in the van for 4.5 months, I was happy to come home. I was missing family and friends. But after a few months, I found I was getting back into my old habits of watching too much TV, too much couch surfing. I was really missing the sense of freedom that I had when I was on the road, and also how it made me feel. I've mentioned before, it makes me feel younger when I'm living in the van and driving around. I was really missing it. Part of my decision was also financial. I realized that if I didn't have to pay rent every month and just lived in the van, that I could build my savings back up again. I'd be saving quite a lot every month. And I'd kind of like to maybe do a few more trips to Europe before my time for travel is done. I hope I've got a few more good years for that, but you know, you never know. I've had 2 knee replacements and 1 hip replacement, and so it really did hit me that if I'm going to do any of these things I've always wanted to do, I better do them now. I better do them now. No more waiting. So I know that if I don't give van life, full-time van life, a try, I'm going to regret it. So I do have a backup plan, a plan B, and that is that I have my name in for an apartment for seniors. The wait list could be, I don't know, one of my friends was told she'd have a 2 to 5 year wait. My name's been on the list for about a year. I'm thinking that I maybe have another year to wait, or maybe 2, but I'm really hoping it doesn't come up too soon, because I want to give this a shot. I really do. The difference this time, of course, is that I won't be driving every day, at least not long distances. I will be staying mainly in BC and mainly around the area that I've always lived in. Again, not doing a lot of traveling is going to save me money, because this van does use a lot of gas, and gas is still expensive. So being here near friends and family just feels comfortable for me right now. But I will be able every day to be somewhere near the water, like here down by the river, or you know, in English Bay in Vancouver, or Spanish Banks, and I can have a different water view every day for the whole day if I want, and then go somewhere and find a place to sleep. So those are my reasons for wanting to do this. I'm really excited about it. I'm not worried about finding places to sleep. I think people that are thinking about van life who won't be staying in campgrounds all the time, because there aren't any down here, that's for sure. You have to go further out for them, and they're not in my budget anyway. So, but a lot of people, that kind of worries them, like, oh my gosh, you know, somebody's going to see me and call the police or whatever. But I didn't have any problems with that when I was traveling. Now, mind you, I was moving on every day, so that wasn't really an issue, or pretty much every day. There were a few times where I stayed somewhere for a couple of days in an area. But I think if you find a different place every night, most people don't know about van life. They don't know that somebody's living in their vehicle. Those of you who follow van life videos or are interested in it, know. But a lot of the time, especially in like the ProMasters and the cargo vans and utility vans, people don't realize that there could be someone living in there. This camper van is obviously a camper van, so it's a little harder to be stealthy. But I'm always very careful about where I choose to stay, and I never park in front of someone's house. I just think that's wrong, for one thing. What I try to do is I try to find perhaps a street that has, you know, the side of a house on one side of me with a big hedge with no windows overlooking, and on the other side of the street maybe some apartments with businesses underneath. And I always pay attention to the parking signs. If there are limits on when you can park or how long you can park, and especially if they say no overnight camping. I would never do that. You're asking to have a knock on the window if you do that. So that's just a little insight into what's motivated me to do this. I just thought I would share that with you. If any of you are watching because you're thinking about van life, I would love to know why. What's appealing about it for you? Please share what's drawing you to van life. I think some people just watch because they find it kind of fascinating, but I know an awful lot of people like me when I was first looking into it. I watched so many videos and learned an awful lot from them. So let me know what your thoughts are on van life. Is it something you're planning on doing, something you'd like to do but you don't think you ever will? Also, let me know if you have any questions. I certainly haven't lived more than 4.5 months at one time, so I can't attest to what it's like to live through a whole year, although on my trip I did encounter every kind of weather. So if you have any questions, let me know, or as I've said before, suggestions for topics. Wherever you are, I hope the sun's shining for you. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will say bye-bye for now.